we're gonna talk about the NFL Week 9, putting this up on nicely now that Week 9 is in the books with the Chiefs beating the Buccaneers in overtime. Aaron, um, all right. So first things first, uh, Lions.
They're
Do you
legit and
think
they're for real.
in this will go hand in hand with our Chiefs discussion? The Lions right now are 7-1,
Yep.
and they're off to their best start.
We
Since
thought we thought last year was good, and they blew it out of the water this year.
yeah, since 19. Check this out. Since 1956. Like, dang. First off, second off, would you believe? And this is a stat that I came up with when I was watching First Take today. That the Lions, when Dan Campbell first started, he was a very weird dude. You know, his introductory press conference saying we're gonna come in here and bite people's kneecaps. And the Lions actually, with him at the helm, started 1-6. But since that 1-6 start, they're 27-8.
Damn. I think this is an example of when a culture change takes effect, because the Lions successfully changed ever since the trade, sending Stafford to LA and sending Goff to Detroit. Ever since that trade, in my opinion, the culture of the Lions organization completely shifted. And now you have a badass team that will eventually, and I'm going to call it now, they will eventually get their Super Bowl. They will eventually get their Super Bowl win. Detroit as a franchise is long overdue for it, and they are in a position where they can get it. So look out.
Yeah. Now the question is, what team do you think can? Because we saw that we saw. I mean, they lost to Tampa earlier in the year, but we saw Green Bay try to go up against them, failed. Um, Dallas
Minnesota got blown out by them.
Dallas tried to go up against them, failed. Who else? I
Minnesota.
mean, Minnesota, who were undefeated, by the way, failed. Like,
Chicago. I mean, good God, Chicago's gonna be a slaughter fest.
no,
That
you didn't even get me started with Chicago.
well, that Lions defense is just gonna eat Caleb Williams for breakfast.
And you know what the interesting thing is, Aaron, from yesterday?
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw, but their safety branch got ejected from the game, and they still were able to put a beating on Jordan Love and take away the football, even with him not even there. Like the fact that they're now top defensive weapon with Hutchinson out for the rest of the
Yeah.
season,
Hmm.
being ejected, like, and only giving up 14 points. Like, when I saw that ejection, I'm like, okay, maybe the Packers have a chance, but nope. Lions were able to stand pat, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, the Lions are going to hit, and it's amazing considering how good the NFC North really has the potential to be, that the Lions can have this much of a command of it.
now let's talk about a little bit about the Packers. Now, Jordan Love, I know that
Get
people.
Jordan Love out, put Malik Willis in.
Yes, I feel like he's a little bit too. Like, he was trying to play hero yesterday. Like, he was banged up, dude. Like, and I don't want to put the injury as an excuse, but you can tell that he just wasn't himself yesterday at all.
Mhm. Ball came out wobbly. He wasn't. His decisions weren't exactly confident, and you can tell that because it's not even like injuries, especially if they're bad ones, can take a psychological effect as well as a physical effect, and the team can kind of feel his energy and feel that he's in rough shape.
Mm-hmm. Now the question is, we'll see how it turns out, but obviously, again, like we said before, Lions are going to win that division.
Agreed.
Uh, do you think that Minnesota or Green Bay will end up in second or third place?
Unless Minnesota can show me that they can stop the bleeding, I gotta go Green Bay. I gotta go Green Bay because Minnesota. Well, first off, I mean the turnovers from Sam Darnold have to be fixed. The other thing is where's the defense for Minnesota? Where is it? Because these last 3 weeks with the losses they've had, their defense has just looked god awful.
Mm-hmm. All right, all right. So from NFC North talk to um a little bit more of the AFC West talk and the Chiefs. Now, Lions and the Chiefs right now have the best records in their respective conference. Do you think that these are the two teams going to the Super Bowl? And if not, who are they?
I want to believe in the Lions. I want to believe in them. They're a good team, but has Dan Campbell learned from last year? If he hasn't, the Lions will be in the exact same position as they were last year. The Chiefs, I don't. If the Chiefs can get healthy, I mean, they're already enough weapons as it is. But if the Chiefs get healthy, nobody else stands a chance. I don't care who it is. But the Lions, Dan Campbell and his play call and his play style has to show me, and honestly has to show his whole fan base, that he can make smart decisions when the game is on the line. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the NFC though is just so stacked.
You mean the
And
NFC or the AFC?
like anyone else, like anyone is capable of an upset, but like when it comes to Detroit, again, no one aside from Tampa earlier in the year have been able to lay hands on Detroit. So like I feel like
I feel bad for you guys because you guys have Detroit in a couple of weeks.
nope, we don't have Detroit for this. We don't have Detroit this
I
year.
thought you guys did have them this year.
Nope.
I know you guys have Pittsburgh coming up. Please trounce them.
True. Um, but I don't know, man. Like I feel like I again, if Buffalo can find a way to get out of their own way in the playoffs, first off, and if Baltimore can do the same and somehow take down Mahomes, like I feel like
Then either
we
Lamar or Allen could get his.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But again, I just, for the sake of course, I want my team to win, but to reward a player, in my opinion, who has been a consummate team player and a consummate professional, it is for that reason that I feel like Lamar Jackson deserves his ring. I would even go so far as to say Josh Allen, if he were to do that, this would be a dawning era for the Bills because their history, while rich, is not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Kelly went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost all 4 of them. I mean, that's tough.
Speaking of Buffalo, actually, I mean, we were discussing it throughout the stream, but the AFC East is as good as
It's
theirs.
it's a 4 game lead. It's a
Yo,
4 game lead. All Buffalo has to do is win one more game.
I'll give it
If they
that.
win, if they win one more game this month, that
Hmm.
division is clinched. One more.
And
That's
if you know,
all we got to
if you notice how happy Josh Allen is to get an Amari Cooper, dude,
do.
he's
I would be too. I
like,
would be too.
and remember what I said at the earlier in the season. I was like, look, if I would have taken the corpse of Aaron Rodgers over Josh Allen and who, I don't know who at wide receiver, but Josh Allen and the Bills did a good job at shutting me up and switching my pick very early on because they were good as it was, but then they got even better with Amari Cooper. Now, like that number one wide receiver, they're fine. They're good.
That's honestly that's all. That's all they were missing is just more people for Allen to throw to. And now, if there was anything that I would love to see Buffalo do more of, it's run the ball. Like they need a good back.
Yeah, because James Cook is just too hurt, and then like when James Cook isn't playing, it's like a running back by committee type of deal, and I'm not a big
That
fan of those.
that's what it was against Baltimore, and that's why they got dropped by 25 points.
Like I don't.
That's that's why they lost to Baltimore is because they had a running back room by committee, and they didn't have Cook in.
Yeah. Oh, let's
But
see.
one more game, like looking at it mathematically,
Mm-hmm.
one more win this month, and I think the Bills would have like if the Bills were to win next week, boom, on lock, division win over. Nobody's taking it away from them.
Yep, I agree with that. Now, going to the NFC West, um, all 14. It's a wide open division, and who would have thunk that we would have said that we probably thought maybe at the beginning of the season NFC East, maybe NFC South, definitely,
I actually don't think it's that wide open.
but the
I
NFC
think it's
West. Go ahead.
I don't think it's that wide open. I think you've got two teams that are getting hot at the right time, and I think it's the Arizona Cardinals and the LA Rams.
So, do you think that the 49ers still have a chance now that because Christian McCaffrey is rumored to come back this upcoming week?
Time will tell. If he does come back, it could be a game changer. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. The Rams beat the Niners, didn't they?
Yes.
As of now, the Rams. Oh, and also the Cardinals beat the Niners too, didn't they?
Yep.
Right now, the head-to-heads are like the head-to-heads are sitting for the Rams and Cardinals. Those second matchups between those two teams, like the second matchup between the Cardinals and the Niners and the Rams, will decide the division. The Seahawks, in my opinion, are out of it.
Yeah, and it's because of a poor quarterback play, b their defense. For a defensive minded guy, I'm very highly disappointed in Mike McDonald.
Yeah, I am too. And not only that, but like if you can get them involved in the game, Seattle has some amazing, amazing playmakers,
Yeah, they do.
but they don't get them involved. The offensive line is not protecting. Geno Smith is taking too many hits. Of course, I'm not saying that Russell Wilson should be back in Seattle, but at least when they had a quarterback who was mobile and could run, he could then throw. He could then keep the play alive, keep the plays alive, and throw open the playmakers.
Hmm.
They need somebody who's more mobile, and it's not Geno Smith.
All right.
Based on
So,
their based on their based on their
mhm.
system.
Okay, so who do you give the division to? I say Rams.
I say Rams.
If the
I say
Rams stay healthy, because
yes. Okay, if it's F Matthew Stafford, whatever, Puka Nakua, Cooper Cup, those two stay healthy, the division belongs to LA. If not, it belongs to Arizona.
You don't think that Arizona's over is kind of like overhyped?
I think that they are, but I
Me,
think
me personally, I think they are, and they they're gonna have a winning record, and then they're gonna collapse at some point. Like that's what ended up happening.
I think that the wild card round of the playoffs will be their collapse. That's what I think.
Mhm.
I think that if the Cardinals aren't going to realize just how bad they really are until the bright lights hit them because they have not had a primetime game all year.
True.
And
True.
once playoff time rolls around, reality smacks them in the face.
That's actually true. They don't even have a dang.
They don't have a prime time. Now, again, remember what I said: schedule subject to change.
I mean, we
If
thought the Colts and the Jets were actually going to be prime time, but the NFL was like, nope, we're not putting that abysmal Jets team on prime time anymore.
well, the Colts aren't too far from it either.
Yeah, but that's what the Colts get for like. First off, and I want to get your take on this. Should they or shouldn't they? Should they have benched Anthony Richardson, knowing that he was a
No,
project to begin with?
no, I don't think so. I think that this this is why I had a problem with how the Steelers dealt with Kenny Pickett. I believe you have a similar situation here with Anthony Richardson, in that if you can show that you have faith in him, he'll play well for you. The organization right now does not have faith in Anthony Richardson, and they just labeled him as a bust way too soon. I could see in the near future Anthony Richardson having a resurgence somewhere else other than Indy.
Do you think? Because we know that the Panthers are a dumpster fire. Do you think that Bryce Young could have a resurgence somewhere too?
Yeah, I do. I do. I could. You know what? It's gonna a hot take here, folks. Do you think who do you think would be a better fit for Seattle, Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson?
Good question. Good question. I like Anthony Richardson's mobility.
I think that's what the Seahawks need, and I think
And
I
with
think
him having those, I mean, the Colts have a decent set of weapons. Don't get me wrong, but their offensive line
it's
is
god
kind of
awful.
questionable-ish.
Mark my words, if you get either of those two quarterbacks throw into guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they're going to look like fucking MVPs.
Give me Anthony Richardson right now. I feel like Anthony Richardson is better than Bryce Young.
I agree with you on that. I think the mobility is more. I think if you've got a better offensive line, then Anthony Richardson won't need to think that he needs to take off and run so often.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
You could have some versatility as a Seahawks organization. You could have some versatility and sprinkle some designed runs in there for him because we know that he's good at it. But you've got people he can throw to, and you've got a good running back in Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, true. All right. So let's get into some not breaking news, but news that came out earlier today. The Saints the Saints are this close to hitting the self destruct button and rebuilding their
Mhm.
franchise. They fired their head coach Dennis Allen. Um, they should be sellers at the deadline. What was your initial reaction of the Saints firing their head coach after starting? And you gave them praise too, 2-0 when they started 2-0. Were you shocked how bad they've just fallen off?
Yes, I am, and I'll tell you why. Going through the first 2 weeks of the season, nobody had scored more points than the Saints. This team had scored a total of 76 points in 2 games. And then to totally collapse, and after that, from week 3 and onward, to only score an average of 12 points a game. Think about that as a staggering difference in gameplay.
Hmm.
That says a lot.
Yeah, that was just. I was like, oh, 2-0. I was like, okay, maybe. Cause I was actually pondering it, dude. Like earlier, like in the season, I was like, maybe I could visit. Like, if Washington and New Orleans are actually good, like that would be a game for me to go to. But now that New Orleans kind of in that rebuild, it's kind of like it's probably one of the two guarantee wins that I give Washington for the rest of the season. Like
Yeah.
at New Orleans, and then at what was the other team that I said? The New Orleans and Tennessee. I was like, those are the two, because like Derek Carr. Now I knew that Derek Carr wasn't that good, but I felt with the NFC South being somewhat interesting, I was like, okay, maybe the Saints could make a run, but now 2-7, firing their head coach, Derek Carr being trash. They're just holding a lot of players hostage.
How long does Taysom Hill have to be there before they decide to put him in at starter? Because that guy has shown tremendous skills as a runner, as a pass catcher, and as a quarterback. He has shown skills in all 3 phases.
Honestly, dude, I'm surprised. You remember that Thursday night football game that they played? I'm surprised that they didn't put him in. They decided to just go with a rookie.
It's long overdue because I mean, yes, they have Spencer Rattler, but I do think that Taysom Hill is in a rare spot where I think he could be the one to sort of train and mentor Spencer Rattler.
Yep, Derek Carr should just retire at this point because
Hmm.
he trash.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Let me see. Um, Anything that you're looking forward to for the trade deadline tomorrow? Anything that piques your interest or what to look out for?
What would pique my interest is, does Cleveland try to look for another wide receiver to replace Amari Cooper? Like, does Cleveland look for a budget wide receiver option?
I say no, just
Because
because
Amari Cooper was
they're
just way too
rebuild.
much money for them.
But here's the thing: the Browns are kind of in that rebuild phase, man. Like the fact that they still got and I know that
How
Deshaun
long
Watson
can they
may be
be in a
done, but dude, they still gotta pay Deshaun. They're gonna be in financial ruin. Talk about financial ruin. The Saints are in financial ruin for the next few years.
And so are the Broncos from the Russell Wilson situation. But
Like,
I don't know. Like I I could the Browns need someone more than Njoku out there catching passes because he by himself cannot do it. If you double cover an Njoku, you've basically hampered the entire Cleveland offense.
I think the Browns are actually sellers at the deadline, not buyers. Um,
I think do you what is it? I would think that you could see. I think Devonte Adams could be traded out of the Jets, right back out, even after he just came back in.
really.
Yeah, because I think he was expecting something when he went in. He was expecting success with Aaron Rodgers, and that success just isn't there.
Hmm. Never thought of that, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
I also think that I also heard that T. Higgins was wanting to trade.
But here's the thing, though. A lot of teams are not gonna wanna. trade for him for the sole purpose of he's been injury prone this season. First, second, like he doesn't have like it's only going to be half a season because he's a free agent at the end of the season. Like if he were, I feel like he showed his hand just too early. He should have just play for the Bengals the rest of the season, and then see where you can strike out in free agency because he's kind of in a situation where if he goes and the team doesn't give him what he wants, he could either sit out or not play his best.
The thing of it
Basically,
is, the Bengals
basically,
know.
basically what the Jets have with Hassan Reddick. When Hassan Reddick, the Jets brought him in thinking, and he thought, oh, like, oh, perfect, I get a contract extension. The Jets haven't budged on that, and he's sitting out, getting fined for every week that he's not at the team facility.
Well, I'll take you one further and say that the Bengals also understand that they are a different team without T Higgins, and
Yeah, that's true too.
but if he decides to sit out, he's basically dooming. I mean, I'll take it if they decide to do it, but they are basically dooming the Bengals to mediocrity. And something else interesting to think about. Um, Stephon Diggs tears his ACL. Do you think the Texans are buyers or sellers at the deadline?
Buyers.
I think so too. I think so too. Um,
Question is, what wide receivers are out there?
See,
That's a good.
I would have thought that if anybody, they would have made a play for D Hop before the Chiefs did. But this is why I mentioned the whole T Higgins.
I don't think that would have fallen through either, regardless, because I don't see the Titans sending.
T Higgins already has a well. So I think if T Higgins would have been traded anywhere, it could have been to Houston.
I mean, that would kind of also put like because Joe Mixon's there. He'd be like, what's up, dude?"
Yeah, there'd already be a pre-established working relationship there. So yeah, no, I think that's a possibility.
And then of course the Lions are interested in getting that pass rusher, Sadarius Smith. It's just a matter of when, not if, from what I hear and
Is he
understand.
is he to shore up where Aiden Hutchinson left off?
Yep.
If they do get, it'll be interesting to see if next season if they do keep Zadarius Smith and then they move one of them to the other side, and then they have both Hutchinson and Smith.
Yep. Um.
Because that would make their defense even that much more lethal.
We'll see how it. Again, it's going to be an interesting day, and I don't mean just because the elections are going on. It's because the NFL has their trade deadline, coincidentally, on the 5th as well. But that'll do it for this recap. Before I fall asleep on stream, make sure you guys comment, share, and subscribe to my to both of our channels. I hope to be back.
Follow us on TikTok.
I hope, yeah, follow us on TikTok, support our PayPal's. I hope to be back tomorrow. We'll see. We'll play it by ear, and then hope to be back on Wednesday. Just got to sort some stuff out with Jason. But that's it. That's all, y'all. Have yourselves a good night.